Hi, hello YouTube. How are you today? Hope you are well. I created a video over 4 years ago, how to create an audio CD using Brasero in Ubuntu. I've been meaning to update that, which I will get to do at some point, as you can see, over 4 years old and needs a refresh. But I thought, in the meantime, what if there's people out there that are thinking of switching over to Linux? Maybe they've seen programs, seen, oh, what this Linux is like to try, but they've got Windows and are a little bit nervous how to switch to it. So I've created a video, which you're watching now, which is how to install Lubuntu, which is basically Ubuntu with LXDE window manager. That's a 1704 for Linux. And this also for people that might have a dual boot. You might have existing Windows 10 or 7 or 8, maybe even XP. So there's still people still using XP and Vista out there who might want a dual boot to run Linux. So this guide will show you how to do this. But for the test purpose, I've created a virtual box, which is a bit like VMware, if you people know VMware. So I've created an image that's going to boot up and install a version of Linux, and you'll see that now. So let's get started. When you boot up your virtual machine and you've got a CD, but obviously this is a virtual box I'm doing. When your CD boots up, you're presented with starting Ubuntu. What I've done here, because I had problems with my version of VirtualBox, I set up a few settings to make it run as Visa. And you'll see there the music, the background music here is called Navarro Night by Audionautics. You'll see from the description there. Also, I'll put the link in the description as well about this. So it was all got from the YouTube audio library, so hopefully it shouldn't get a copyright strike. When Ubuntu boots up, I've noticed I have sped up this video considerably, up to about 1500 times normal speed, because when I first done the recording video, because I've got a slow laptop, it took over 3 hours to install. And I don't particularly want you watching a 3-hour video on how to install Linux, so I've sped it up dramatically to speed it up. So when it does boot up, you're presented with a live CD. This makes it perfect for people who want to install Linux, because you can get live CD, which means you can run the whole operating system, well, a cut down version, because it basically fit on a CD or DVD, run it in an environment, so you can test it out before you actually go ahead and commit to install it. But because this is we're creating a vanilla, or basically a virgin version of Ubuntu, so we're going ahead and straight and installing it. This is the screen you're now seeing coming up. Icons, your start button is at the bottom, that looks like a little blue spot, and that's equivalent to your start button on Windows. That gives you all your options and menu. But for this test, we're going to go ahead and go and actually install Ubuntu, or Lubuntu. I think it's called Lubuntu. I don't know the pronunciation, but I call it Ubuntu, but Lubuntu I think it's called. Your trash is your wastebasket if you're in Windows. And then once it does come up, as again it still took when I originally done it, took quite a few minutes to actually come up, because it's slow. And see here, now you've got the install screen comes up. Again, first thing you select the language in which you're going to use. As we're in the UK, as I'm in the UK, I've set it as English. At this point, preparing to install Ubuntu. And for those that don't know, Ubuntu is a Debian-based Linux system. Basically, Debian is the thing, and every version of like Linux Mint, Lubuntu, Ubuntu, Xubuntu, all get their things from Debian, which Debian was designed to be easy for Samba. That last screen that you saw, we've now skipped past, so I've been waffling on. If that gives you option to install, download updates and install like MP3 drivers, you don't have to install them. You can choose completely to not install them later date. When you get to this page, installation type, if you had a dual boot, it will detect you've got another version and will give you the option to run it alongside. But since this is a virtual machine and it's the only operating system installed, we just don't erase the whole disk, but you have the option to run them side by side. The next page was the time zone. Again, as we're in the UK, I selected London, but you can select your time zone. This page is a keyboard layout. This is basically what the language you're going to use, whether it's German, English, whatever. As we're in the UK in English, I'll put UK as English. Here you put in your username and password, or you're going to log in the system. Log in automatically, that's an optional checkbox. You don't have to tick it. If you tick it, what it is, you're telling Ubuntu to automatically boot in to your desktop straight away. If, on the other hand, you had going to have it as a family PC, so they have multiple logins, you leave that unchecked. So then you create additional accounts. So then what you do is when they log in, they'll get a login screen, a bit like Windows 10. We can then select which user. Now it's going ahead and formatting. It's going to create a swap partition, which is basically like a swap file in Windows. Basically, this has been set up with 1 GB of RAM, and even though it's a 4 gig laptop, I've only set about a quarter of its space for the virtual machine. So if it needs extra swap space, it will create an appropriate swap space. It will format it and then create what we call the root partition, which is, we'll call it the hub, which is followed by a // because difference between Windows and Linux, Windows uses drive letters. They've only started to implement in like Windows 8 and Windows 10 and started to implement folder names, but in Linux it's all folder names. So your USB devices, your CD devices will all be mounted as folders, usually in the media folder, whereas in Windows it's usually a drive letter, except for the most modern ones now that offer it as a folder name. But now what it's doing is copying files. Even at this speed up, it will take a while. So rather than keep me there, I'll come back to you when it is done. Okay? Hi, it's finally finished installing the system. Now I'm going to reboot the system and watch it come back up, and then that will conclude. So for the time, please sit back and enjoy the music while this happens. Well, it's finally actually installed the system, and it's just about to boot into the desktop for the first time from the VirtualBox hard drive. Or in this case, it will be your first time booting if you're doing it on an actual physical system. Now, I had an issue when it first booted up. As you'll see, it'll come up with incomplete language. Now, I don't know if that's an issue with VirtualBox, the version I'm using, or it's just because it was configured to have English and maybe it didn't get the actual settings right. If that happens, it's quite easy to rectify. Make sure the system is connected to the internet, so you've got an internet connection, and then follow the instructions on the dialog box, and then select the language you want, and then it will download the language files and the necessary files it needs, including the keyboard layout. Okay, well, that concludes the tutorial on how to install Linux. I hope that was informative for you. Now that we have a working Linux, or I have a working Linux now in VirtualBox form, I'll be using that to do future all about Linux tutorials, including the one I want to do that I've been over 4 years in the making, which is how to create an audio CD using MP3s in Ubuntu. So the next video I'll be doing will be of that, and I'll even show you how you install Brazero if it's not already installed in your system. But that's all for now. If you'd like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down, and please do leave me some comments. But that's all for now. If you do want to watch any more videos of these type videos, please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell to be informed of any future videos. But that's all for now. I talk to you later. Bye bye for now.